I've been telling the guys about your adventures in Marmaris. Why don't you tell them yourself? Not Marmaris, Max said, looking pained. I was in Bayukada. He pronounced it Bayukada with the soft notes and little hisses, like a man who knew what he was about. He had just returned from a week in Bayukada, he explained, visiting with his old friend in exile, Leon Trotsky. I'm amazed he's still alive, the novelist said. It can only be a matter of time before Stalin sends his people to take a pop. He made a limp white pistol shape of his hand. And Max was off. It was his favourite topic. If not the domestic particulars of Trotsky's new life in Turkey, which fascinated us trivial Hollywood folk, then the failure of communism, the evil of Stalin, the tragedy of post-revolution Russia. His trip to Bayukada had obviously been a failure. It was quite a trek, after all, to come from Antibes, and I came with one single object in mind, to offer comfort to my old friend. Because he simply exists out there, you know, plotting and brooding, waiting. It's rather pathetic. One ear out for the pop. Pop, the novelist said. Awful. Last time I laid eyes on the fellow, we were in Moscow, Max continued. Stalin was a nobody, a booby, a nothing. It was Leon who held the future in his hands. We believed in a new world. We were friends. Max paused. He fiddled with his napkin, furrowed his brow. And I don't suppose there was a person at the table who didn't want to stretch across and smooth it for him. Do you know, he said at last, in all the week he and I spent together in Bayukada, Leon didn't ask me a single question about my life. He looked around at the table. Isn't that rather extraordinary? The conversation turned back to movies. You can't keep the conversation from movies for long in this town. They were discussing the special effects in King Kong, but I couldn't contribute. After a moment or two, Max turned to me. I'm guessing you and I may be the only people in this town who haven't yet watched it, right? I think so, I smiled. And then, finally, came the pause I suppose I had been waiting for. He took up his wineglass and slurped from it in a show of nonchalance. Not for me, but for everyone else. He leaned in close. We've met before, Dora, he said. Well, of course we have, Max, I said, maybe just a half-second late. I had almost lulled myself into imagining the danger was past. I smiled into his honest eyes until he blinked. Don't tell me you have only now remembered. Certainly not, he said. I spotted you at once. Why do you think I made such a beeline for the seat? It was the only one that was empty? He laughed and shook his head. You know, you don't look a day older, he said. And I said, the difference being that in his case, except for the grey in his hair, it was true. Neither do you, Max, not a day older. You must have a portrait in an attic somewhere. Ha! Yes, I think maybe we both do. Gosh. But it's terrific to see you, Dora. I mean, don't you think so? He sounded uncertain as I felt. It's too incredible. Here we are, still standing, after all these years. Here we are, I repeated, still standing. Oh, but you must know I recognized you, Dora. He sounded a little petulant. How could I possibly not? Well, I recognized you, of course, but you've gotten so famous since. I see your photograph, I smiled at him. I guess I had the advantage. I would have greeted you as soon as I sat down, but then when you didn't acknowledge me... He looked so tactful and tortured I had to struggle not to laugh. I imagine that your particular situation,